Queridos amigos, muy buenos días. Gracias por estar con nosotros en su programa Café con Leche, la voz de los latinos en América. Estamos transmitiendo en hermosa 1470M, 96.9 FM. Les habla Lilia Galindo y me acompaña Thomas Elias. Él es un importante analista político, además que escribe en muchísimos periódicos de California, y aquí en el Valle del Antílope tenemos la fortuna de leer su columna 2 veces a la semana. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. Good morning, and I hope you had very nice holidays, Lilia.
It was excellent. Thank you so much. What about you? Did you have a good holiday too?
Well, we stayed around town and enjoyed some dinners out and things like that. We just had a relaxed time with it.
I'm glad.
So let's talk today a little bit about these demonstrations that we've been seeing for the last few months, ever since the Hamas terrorists attacked Israel and killed 1,200 people and raped many women and even were reported to have cut off the heads of babies they encountered. And they took hundreds of people hostage, as we know. Let's talk a little bit about these demonstrations that basically favor Hamas. They're protesting what Israel has done to retaliate for this attack. Well, I'll stop there and let you translate that.
Thank you. Okay. Bueno, dice, quiero hablar el día de hoy de las demostraciones que ha habido en los últimos meses después de esta masacre que hubo de los 1,200 judíos y de las mujeres que fueron violadas, según esto. Incluso dice él que ha habido testimonio de niños que les cortaron la cabeza. Dice, y lo que hemos visto, muchas demostraciones que están favoreciendo a Hamas y que están en contra de lo que ha hecho Israel para venganza de lo que sucedió en este evento de octubre 7. Okay.
So most of these demonstrations we've seen on campuses and even in the state legislature just yesterday have been organized by an organization called Students for Justice in Palestine, which started about 16 years ago on the campus at Berkeley, but has spread nationally and become a very big organization. Just about 2 weeks ago, in an interview, one of their steering committee members talked about these demonstrations, and he said that the idea of the demonstrations, and this is a direct quote, is to appeal to people who know nothing. And now we know, in fact, that many of the demonstrators don't know what they're talking about when they shout the slogans that they shout during the demonstrations. And I'll stop there, and then I'll go on with specifics.
Okay. Dice, bueno, ha habido algunas demostraciones, principalmente dice, vamos a hablar de la última que se hizo ante el Congreso a nivel estatal. Dice, en que muchos estudiantes han organizado se ha organizado un grupo que se llama Justicia para Palestina, que fue formado por estudiantes en Berkeley. Dice que se ha extendido a muchas otras universidades y a muchos otros lugares. Y ellos dicen que textualmente uno de los miembros del comité dice que su objetivo es apelar a todas aquellas personas que no saben nada acerca del conflicto.
Okay. So one of the slogans that the people in these demonstrations shout the most often is a slogan that the Students for Justice in Palestine has used for many years. It says, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Now, remember, Israel is the only Jewish country in the world. The only place Jews have been sovereign for the last 2,000 years. So when Jews hear the slogan, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, many of us are reminded of the Nazi German demand for a Europe that would be Judenrein. Judenrein is a German word that means Jew-free, no Jews. So basically, that's what the demonstrators are asking for. They're asking for a Jew-free Palestine. And I'll stop there, and then I'll go on with what we now know about these demonstrators.
Ok. Dice, estos personas que se manifiestan en favor de los palestinos, dicen, cantan algo que para nosotros es a veces ofensivo, dice, y ellos dicen, desde el río hasta el mar, Palestina tiene que ser, será libre. Dice, y para nosotros eso implica, nos recuerda a lo que decían los nazis de Alemania, y significa que quieren una Palestina sin judíos. Okay.
Okay, so there is a professor at Berkeley. His name is Ron Hassner. He's a political science professor, and he wondered just how much the people who were out there demonstrating knew about what they were talking about. So he commissioned a poll, and they polled about 500 students who had participated in demonstrations on campuses, a whole variety of campuses around the country, around the United States. And Hassner first reported the survey findings in an op-ed column in the Wall Street Journal about 3 weeks ago. And so what he said, what the poll reported, is that only 47% of the people surveyed knew which river and which sea the slogan "From the river to the sea, Palestine must be free," which river and which sea they're referring to. Of course, they really refer to the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. But among the 47% of people who didn't know what river and what sea they were talking about, many of them said that they believed it referred to the Nile River or the Euphrates River. And as for seas, many of them named the Dead Sea or the Caspian Sea and the Caribbean Sea, none of which are anywhere near Israel. And of course, the Nile and the Euphrates are rivers in the Middle East, but they're hundreds of miles away from Israel. So essentially, these demonstrators that we see all the time, about half of them don't know what they're talking about.
Bueno, estamos hablando también de nos estaba diciendo que se hizo una encuesta, un señor que se llama Ron Hassner en la Universidad de Berkeley pagó para que se hiciera una encuesta a aproximadamente 500 estudiantes y se les preguntó a qué río y a qué mar se referían con el eslogan de ese que dice que desde el río hasta el mar, Palestina será free, será libre. Y dice que solamente el 40% sabían a qué río se referían. Dice, y por supuesto que se refieren al río Jordán y al mar Mediterráneo cuando se habla en este eslogan de eso. Pero la verdad es que muchísimos de los estudiantes desconocían y nombraban otros mares y otros ríos que no tenían nada que ver con Israel, que estaban muchas millas fuera de Israel.
Okay, so the poll also showed that at least half of the people in these demonstrations don't know other major facts about the region in the Middle East. It turns out that not even 1/4 of the people in these demonstrations could identify Yasser Arafat. And 10% of the people named Yasser Arafat as the first prime minister of Israel. That's kind of funny since Yasser Arafat was the founding leader of the Palestine Liberation Organization, and no one has ever been more anti-Israel than Yasser Arafat. And as Hasner said, there's no shame in being ignorant unless you're also at the same time screaming for the extermination of millions of people. And it goes back to what that steering committee member, Sean Aaron, steering committee member of Students for Justice in Palestine, said, these demonstrations, or the idea of these demonstrations, is to appeal to people who know nothing. And in fact, the poll shows that that's exactly what they're doing. They're appealing to people who don't know much of anything. It's pretty much the same, too, when the demonstrators call for a two-state solution. What they forget is that from the day Israel was founded, the Palestinians have been offered a two-state solution at least 6 times formally. The original United Nations resolution in 1947 that created the state of Israel, that was declared its independence in 1948, called for the territory that is now Israel and the West Bank and Gaza. They called for it to be divided about equally into an Arab state and a Jewish state. And the Arabs immediately rejected that. And on the day, and within 5 minutes of when Israel's Declaration of Independence was read over the radio for the first time, the armies of Egypt, Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, and Libya invaded Israel in the 1948 Israeli War of Independence. I personally knew a pilot who flew in that war for Israel, and at the start of that war, the most advanced airplane that they had, Israel, was a Piper Cub, and they used to drop dynamite from it onto these marching columns of troops that were invading Israel at that time. Piper Cub is one of the smallest and slowest planes that's ever existed, and yet that's all they had. They ended up buying some World War II surplus airplanes and have since developed into one of the world's best air forces. But they started out very, very small, and it's because of that invasion and the fact that the Palestinians have continually declined to accept offers of a two-state solution, that we don't have one right now.
Bueno, nos está platicando, dijo que en esta encuesta que se hizo con los estudiantes o con los participantes de estas marchas, dice, ninguno siquiera conocía el nombre de Yasser Arafat, y dice, y lo confundían como si había sido un líder de Israel, cuando en realidad fue la persona, decían que era el primer ministro de Israel, cuando en realidad fue la persona que organizó a los palestinos. Y dice, no se ha podido lograr nada porque se ha ofrecido a los palestinos una solución de que haya dos, de que se dividan los terrenos. Y dice, en 1947 fue el año en que se creó Israel. En 1948, entonces se propuso que se hiciese una división entre Israel, West Bank y Gaza del territorio para que todo el mundo pudiera vivir ahí en paz. Sin embargo, Egipto, Líbano, Irak, Jordán, de inmediato se opusieron a ese acuerdo. Y dice, ya hasta la fecha se ha ofrecido varias veces que haya una resolución de 2 estados, pero no se ha logrado. Así es que pues vamos a seguir esperando a ver cuándo sucede. The time is gone. Tom, thank you so much. I wish you a happy.
And I just would advise our listeners to, when you hear these protesters, be advised that many of them don't know a thing about what they're yelling about.
Okay, cuando vean a los que protestan, muchos de ellos no saben de qué están hablando. Thank you. Happy New Year. Bye bye.
Happy New Year, and we'll talk again soon. Bye bye.